So over the years, I've gotten a lot of questions about the forms and jigs that I use when I'm building bows. And so that's what we're going to cover today. I'm going to show you guys how to make a backset jig. Now I just want to briefly mention this form right here. This is what I use for reflex and recurves, like this little Osage recurve that you see right here. I covered this in another video, so I'll link to that in the video description, and also I'll put a card up at the top. But today we're going to focus on the backset jigs. We're going to make this jig right here. Before we jump into this, I want to just briefly mention, for those of you who are new to bow building, why you might want to make a backset jig. If you look at this bow, this is one that I'm working on. This is actually a maple board bow in the process of building. You see that this bow is bent, but it's actually bent away from you. This is called backset. This is going to make for a more efficient bow, a better performing bow. This is another bow. This is a little hickory bow, and you see that the handle, you hold the bow like this, and it's unstrung. The tips are resting in front of the handle. This is backset. And as I said, if you get to a point where you can add backset to a bow, you're going to end up with a faster, better performing, harder hitting bow. So in order to get there, you got to make these jigs. If you're going to get into fire hardened bows, which both of these, this hickory bow and then this maple board right here, are both fire hardened, you're going to need some sort of backset form like the one you see here. This is how you do it. I'm going to make mine out of a 2x8, but that's just because that's what I had laying out in the barn. 2x6 is going to work just fine. So this form that I'm going to make is going to have 3 inches of backset in it. Now to make this thing, it's very, very simple. All you got to have is a board, something that's flexible, like this piece of PVC. If you don't have that, even a 1x2 that you're going to make your bow out of will work just fine as well. Also a drill and some sort of saw. I'm going to be using a skill saw. So this board, to start off with, is 65 inches. I'm going to go ahead and make a mark at 32.5. And then I'm going to come down from this end 12 inches, make a mark, come in from this end 12 inches, make a mark. So I've got a mark at 12, 32.5, and then 12 inches from this side. I'm going to take my carpenter square. I'm going to come up from the bottom, 1.5 inches. Come up from the bottom, 1.5 inches on this side. Now I'm going to take my drill, and right where this 1.5 inch mark is on the end here, I'm going to come in just a little bit, maybe 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to sink a screw just a little ways in there. This is going to give us something for this pipe to brace on. All right, so now we need to go ahead and make a mark here in the center where the top of this arc is going to be. Now for this form, I want 3 inches of backset. So because I came up 1.5 inches here, and this is where this form is going to taper out, I basically need to take 3 inches plus that 1.5 inches. So I'm going to go ahead, come in right here to 4.5 inches and make a mark. So now what I can do is go ahead and just take my pipe, stick it on there. Now I could just go ahead and bow it up to that mark and scribe a line like that, and that's going to work okay. The only problem with doing that is you've got a lot of bend right here, and it kind of straightens out down here towards the ends. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend it up to this 4.5 inch mark here. I'm going to make a mark where it comes out on this 12 inch line that we marked here. And then I'm just going to take a screw, and instead of putting the screw in that mark that I just made, I'm going to come up about 1/4 inch. And if you do that with a piece of 3/4 inch PVC, you should come out with something that's going to give you about, that's a little over 3 inches, maybe 3¼ inches of backset. If you wanted to flatten it out a little bit towards the center, you could even pull it down. So now that we've got this thing on there, I think I will do that. I'll just pull it down a little bit, and I'm going to scribe this line. Bingo. Now all we got to do is cut that sucker out. All right, so we got our line drawn. Now some of you are probably asking, how are you going to cut a curve with a saw that's designed to cut a straight line? Well, allow me to show you. All right, one backset form, ready to rock. All right, so there you go. Very easy, straightforward. We've got more bow building and archery stuff coming up later this summer, so you know what to do. We'll see you guys on the next one.